Hi everyone, before we dive in, let me assure you one thing. We are not going to bore you with hardcore provisions of income tax or GST, but try to explain you logically as to how we handle this. Let's get started. Imagine getting a notice stating that you hid your income. Why? Because the income tax department looks at your business data in two different places. In the income tax return, the revenue was shown as 5.8 crores. In the GST portal, the total revenue that popped up was 11 crore. And as a result, this was flagged by the department and we were asked to explain the reason for the said differences. So to fix this, first we had to understand the nature of business. The client is into sea logistics. That is, they help companies import and export of goods against a certain freight or commission over huge cargo ships. Unfortunately, this company was on the verge of closure, and as a result, we were made available with very limited data. So we had to bypass the paperwork and straight away go to the GST portal to download all the sales report. So the government doesn't give you the data in a clear, crisp Excel format. Instead, it is in an ugly looking matrix form of JSON file. So as a result, we had to rely on AI. Here comes Claude AI. So we had this 12 months of raw JSON file which we loaded onto the Claude and gave a specific prompt. It's in the description for your reference. And then within minutes, Claude completely organized the entire 12 months of data, which was spread across nearly 1,456 lines in a clear format. So now we had the background of those workings which led to the revenue of 11 crore mentioned on the portal. So on one side, we had the workings for the 11 CR on the GST portal. Now we wanted the workings which led to the revenue of 5.8 crore on the books. So for that, we started looking at the sales register in the client's Tally software. To our surprise, there was nearly 83 revenue items, which was spread across nearly 1,900 line items over a period of 12 months. Now we had to take this entire 83 revenue heads, put it together under one column as taxable supplies and compare this with the GST data. Now we wanted a common reference point so that we can compare the data with the books with that of the GST. And the common reference point is nothing but the GSTIN of the customer. So we ran a VLOOKUP formula and then cross-verified the GSTIN data with that of the books. It matched perfectly with a difference of only 40,000. Now you might ask, if the workings of the GST showed 11 crore and the workings of the books also showed 11 crore, then why did the face of the financials show only 5.8 crore? And the answer to this, my dear friends, is this beautiful game of tug-of-war between the rules of accounting versus the rules of taxation. Think of it like this. If you hire my client to ship your goods from India to abroad, and let's say my client charges you 100 rupees for this. Of this 100, 80 is passed on by my client to the Voyager company to cover their incidental cost, their freight, their terminal charges and their container charges. And of this 100, 80 is passed on, so only 20 rupees is what remains with my client as their freight charge or their commission. But here is the twist. GST rules forces my client to charge GST on the entire 100 rupees as it's a consolidated service. And as a result, my client is forced to show on the GST portal that he made a sale of 100 rupees. And the accounting says that you got 100, but 80 was passed on, only 20 is what left with you. So you're supposed to reflect only 20 rupees. And this, my dear friends, is what led to the difference between the financials and the GST. And as a result, which was the basis of this entire notice. Further, we had to nearly pull out this entire 83 revenue heads and later put them into various chunks as to which was passed on to the Voyager, which was retained and which was partially passed on, what was the statement of accounts that was there, what was the authorization, and look at the various orders that was there. And this is how, my friends, we handled this entire assessment case, which was not of a tax evasion or understatement of income, but simply a mere classification of revenue. Well, for this video, I have just oversimplified the case. Well, behind this or arriving at this conclusion, a lot of work went through. And a big shout out to my team who really put in the hours to ensure that we arrive at a logical conclusion. And there was also certain ITAT, backgrounds that we give are the judgments which was given a certain shipping industry, and a lot of reconciliation, books, looking at the data, pulling out the records, a lot of Excel sheets across was assimilated to arrive at this as other implications of this data. So for this video, we are just, as said, simplified it, and this is how we handled the case. However, we have put the comprehensive reply to the department and are waiting for the reply from their side. The moment we get to hear something from them, we'll make a follow-up video on this and keep you posted. However, if you're also facing any tax issues or any of the notices, we'll be happy to help, and you can reach out to us. Until then, take care and thank you. Thank you so much for watching.